welcome back to my channel and welcome to the rapid fire book tag. Okay, so I was kind of like searching for book related tags that I could do and I came across this one, and I know that it's supposed to be answered like, really quickly, that's why it's rapid fire, but I know that I will end up like explaining my answers, so it probably won't be that fast. But anyway, let's just get on with it. So the first question is ebook or physical book. So I definitely prefer books, like physical books. I just definitely prefer having like the actual book in my hands and just turning the pages and feeling the book. I love it, but I mean, ebooks are definitely more practical because you can just, grab your phone and read anywhere. So yeah, like ebooks are definitely more practical, but I prefer reading physical books. The second question is paperback or hardback. So I definitely prefer paperbacks. I feel like most people prefer hardbacks, but I definitely do prefer paperbacks because I feel like they're much easier to read, and especially when they're like floppy paperbacks, I love them. The third question is online or in-store book shopping. So I definitely prefer going to a bookshop. Sometimes I just go to a bookshop even though I'm not gonna buy anything. I just like being there, surrounded by books. So I definitely prefer going to an actual physical bookshop. But in terms of actually buying books, it's a lot more practical online, especially because I feel like whenever I go to a bookshop, they never have the actual book that I want. So I'll go there and I'll just browse and I'm just, in a happy place. But I do actually buy most of my books online because it's just a lot easier to find. Next question is trilogies or series. Okay, so I feel like I read more series than trilogies, and I feel that's because you get to know more of the characters, and it's also a much more complex story. And in the beginning of those series, I always feel confused because, like I said, it's a very complex story, and in the first books you don't know really what's going on. But in the end, I feel like it's just a lot more rewarding to read like a long series. So yeah, definitely series. Next question is heroes or villains. So villains are a lot more fun, and they usually have much more complex like backstories as well, and they are a lot more interesting and fun to try to understand, and seeing things from their point of view is always interesting. And yeah, like villains are just a lot more fun, so definitely villains. Next question is a book you want everyone to read. Okay, so I don't think I have like one book that I want people to read, especially because different people like different genres of books. But I have here my like 3 favorite books I've read this year, and we have one horror book, which is Kill Creek. We have like literary fiction, which was Little Fires Everywhere, and finally, and I think this might have been like my actual favorite, so if it's like just one, I guess I would go this one, and it's science fiction and it's Project Hail Mary. Then, recommend an underrated book. Okay, so this is actually like a series and I haven't finished yet, but I haven't really seen anyone talk about it, and this is like, it's a series, but they can like all be read separately because they each have their own story, and these are like mystery crime things, and especially these first 2, I really, really liked them. And the third, I really enjoyed it as well, but just not as much as the other 2. But yeah, I'm definitely like, I plan on finishing this series. I think there are 6 books out so far, and like, yeah, it's about a detective, and he just, figures out what happens in crimes, and it's really my kind of thing, and yeah, I really enjoyed these. Next is the last book you finished. Okay, the last book I finished was The Dragon Reborn, and this is book 3 in an epic fantasy series, and really enjoyed it, and it was the last book I finished. Last book you bought. Okay, I think like I bought multiple books at once, but I'll just choose one of them. So one of the last books I bought was Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and this is a fantasy horror novel, I think, and I haven't read it yet, but I'm definitely very excited to. Next, weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark. Okay, so I usually actually do use bookmarks because I have like a ton of them. But if I do not have them around, I sometimes actually like dog ear my pages, which I know some people really hate, but I do that sometimes. Or I'll just use a random piece of paper because I always have a bunch of random pieces of paper on my desk, so I'll just grab one and get it in the book. But yeah, I usually actually do use bookmarks as bookmarks. Next, used books, yes or no? Okay, so I have never actually, I think, bought a used book. And that's not because like I don't want to, it's because I don't know any place near me that sells used books. Like my friend actually a while ago told me about a place near where she lives that sells used books, and we were gonna go there. But honestly, I think we both forgot about it. But I'm definitely interested in going there. But yeah, I usually just buy new books because I don't really know where to buy used books. Next, top 3 favorite genres. Okay, so my top 3 favorite genres are fantasy, horror or thriller, and science fiction. Next is borrow or buy. So I definitely prefer to buy books because I like to write on them. And if I borrow a book, I'm gonna have to give it back. And I can't really give back a book that like I've written on, you know? It just doesn't work like that. But like I have definitely borrowed books, and especially like if it's with a friend, it's fun to like borrow their books because then you can both like talk about the book that you've both read. So like it's definitely fun, but I do prefer to buy books. Characters or plots. So I do like a plot-driven book. Like I like fast-moving plots, but I have to care about the characters in order to actually care about the plot. So definitely like a mixture of the two. Long or short books. I like long books, especially like while reading them. I like holding long books. Is that weird? That might be weird, but like yeah, definitely like long books. And it's not just like because of how it looks or whatever. I also like having actually like a lot of time to develop the story and the characters. And I feel like it's just so much more rewarding to finish a long book, especially if it's a good long book. So yes, definitely long books. And then long or short chapters. So now here is a whole different story. I definitely prefer short chapters because when I'm reading long chapters, I feel like I'm never gonna finish. Like I would rather read like 10-page chapters than one 50-page chapter. You know, I feel like it's very like demotivating to have long chapters. So yeah, definitely short chapters. Name the first 3 books you think of. Okay, like Project Hail Mary, Kill Creek, and The Dragon Reborn, because I literally just talked about them. Books that make you laugh or cry. Okay, so I don't actually cry with books, but I do prefer books that make me feel like sad and emotion than books that just make me laugh, because you know, I like sad things. Even with like TV shows, and that I do cry with, I definitely like to feel sad. Yeah, definitely books, like they don't make me cry, but that make me sad. Our world or fictional worlds? Definitely fictional worlds, especially if they involve magic. But if it's like a science fiction fictional world, I don't think I would want to be there because it's always like, you know, the end of the world, apocalypse. So no thank you if it's like science fiction, but if it's fantasy, like definitely fictional world. Next, audiobooks, yes or no? Definitely yes. I really like audiobooks, especially because they allow me to do more than one thing at a time. And I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to just be doing one thing, and like I always have to be listening to something, so that's just perfect. And like I always like to be doing something with my hands. So like if I'm reading, I'm holding the book, so that's fine. But if I'm listening to an audiobook, I have to be like drawing or just, you know, doing something with my hands, because I cannot just sit still and have my hands down. Like I literally cannot. But yeah, long story short, this was asking if I like audiobooks or not, and yes, I do. I love audiobooks. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? Yeah, all the time. You know, maybe that's not the best thing to do, but I definitely do judge books by their covers, and I will only buy a book in which I don't like the cover if like someone has recommended that book to me, or if I read the synopsis and I'm really like pretty sure I'm gonna like it, because otherwise if I don't like the cover, I won't buy the book. Book to movie or book to TV adaptations. So in my last video, I know that I mentioned that I don't watch movies unless they're Marvel or Pirates of the Caribbean. And I mean, that's not like 100% accurate, but it's pretty true. And I really don't actually watch movies, but I do watch a lot of TV shows. So I just prefer TV shows in general. So I definitely do also prefer TV show adaptations. And also, like when I said I preferred series to trilogies because you have more time to develop the story and the characters. In TV shows, you also have a lot more time to develop the story and the characters. So yeah, definitely TV shows. A movie or TV show you preferred to its book. Okay, one answer that just like came at me out of nowhere because I haven't even thought about that in 3,000 years, it's Twilight. Like, were the movies like a cinematic masterpiece? No, absolutely not. But they were still better than the books. Also, I haven't read them, but I know that everybody says that the Vampire Diaries books are not, great. And I do really like the show, so I guess that too. And the Witcher books, I do like the books, but like the first season of the show was like really good. I don't know if I like it more, but I don't like it less. Okay, I think this is the last question. Series or standalones? So if we go back to my previous answers, I would say series because you have more time with the characters to develop, blah, 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 what I said before. And that is true. I mostly prefer series, but I actually do like standalones too because, sometimes it is good to just, read a book and be done with the story. That's also very fun. So I feel like it really depends on the story and on the book and on how it's written. So yeah, like I like both series and standalones, but if I had to choose, I would go with series. Okay, so I'm not sure I actually did this like fast. I probably didn't, but these were all the questions for the rapid fire book tag, and I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!